absolute scenes yesterday as England, with a last-minute dramatic equaliser from Jude Bellingham. And then, as England hearts are breaking, and they think they may be going to penalties, Harry Kane pops in with the winner. England made it hard, but they got there in the end. England 2, Slovakia 1. Jubilation. Jude Bellingham making a point, making a stance in the tournament. Key figure yesterday. I'm joined by Steve K and Garth Lewis. How you doing, Garth?
Yeah, mustn't grumble, mate. Mustn't grumble. It's just recovering from the boredom of last night. You know what I mean? I'm just waking up from it. So I might be a bit sleepy still, especially after that France-Belgium game and all. So
mate, you should be in the dressing room after that, Keys, on Saturday after that build-up.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. But hopefully we don't need it. Hopefully we don't need the hype. It should be there. Being in the quarterfinals should be enough hype, enough motivation for this team to push on now. Surely, we say it every time. Surely, it was a frustrating game. It started off bad. It got even worse, and it didn't feel like England were going to get out of trouble. They left it to the last minute. Changes were very, very late. We're going to be discussing that. We're going to be discussing a few things since then. Looks like Jude Bellingham could potentially be in trouble. We saw Bukayo Saka playing about 4 or 5 different positions. Cole Palmer came on after a lot of people called for him to come on. Mark Gay, probably one of our players of the tournament so far, miss it in the next game. Had to have injections to continue playing. That's commitment for you. Let's get on to the game itself, Garth. A really, really poor start from England, and it didn't get better anytime soon after that. What did you think we was out?
Oh, 1,000%. I thought we were out, mate. I was going to say, it wasn't just a poor start. It was a poor start, a poor middle, and a poor finish. And then at the very, very end, Jude Bellingham pulls out a bit of magic for us. Like, we should have been out. There's no question about it. I mean, Southgate's a very lucky man, not just with the draw that he's had on this side of the competition, but also it was one of the most, I'm sure we're all going to get into it, infuriating, frustrating games I've ever seen played for me. Some should have been at half time. It was ridiculous that he didn't make any. It was outrageous that he still didn't make any. Like, one sub by the 70th minute. First shot on target was Jude Bellingham's, wasn't it? I believe that was the first shot on target. Declan Rice had a nice strike, but obviously that's the post.
Yeah, the post.
So it's not on target. They don't count as on target before. So but yeah, awful football, awful tactical setup, awful lineup. Some of the players he's taken, what's the point if you're not going to play him? And others like Luke Shaw, what's the point if he ain't available? Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, we'll get into more depth, but yeah, absolutely disgusting performance from England. Disgusting performance from England.
We will get onto that one because that's been a massive bugbear of mine, the whole Luke Shaw saga and debacle that I hope no other England manager going forward ever takes an injured player, no matter how good you think he is or how big a miss you think he may be. Taking an injured player is pointless, and it's not, for me, it's not a good reflection on the rest of the team. It doesn't look good for the rest of the team and people that could potentially be in the squad as well. Steve, what were your thoughts on the game yesterday? It must have been frustrating watching it, not feeling like England were going to go out, but he was cursing at the TV and even more frustrating when you're seeing that the lack of changes being made by Gareth Southgate as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was it's like what Garth said. I mean, it was absolutely terrible right from the first minute up until what was it, the 95th minute.
Yeah.
I mean, every player. I feel a bit sorry for the players because I just, the blame for me goes down to Southgate. Obviously, the players got to do better, and we'll probably get into that. But a lot of it's down to, I mean, we literally stunk the place out, didn't we? We watch football every week. We watch top sides every week, whether it's our own or others. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these players that I watch, week in, week out. I'm not recognising any of them. I don't know who they are. That's the thing that, you know, is frustrating to me more than anything else. I'm watching these players and I'm thinking, you know, to me, you're not what I'm used to seeing. You know, Foden's like, who are you? What are you doing? You know, you're not the Phil Foden I watch. Saka, you're not the Saka I watch. You know, all the players in the midfield. You know, you're not the players I watch that I see. So who is the blame for that? Maybe you get every now and then you'll get one player, you know, who sort of stinks the place out, and we can say, oh, you know, you use this, you was that. But when you get about 6 or 7 that are just unrecognisable, you've got to start looking at the manager. And you've got to start looking at the team that he's putting out and looking at, you know, the way he's getting them to play. It was. We'll get into it, mate. But yeah, it was awful. And yeah, like Garth said, I mean, won the goal that got us out of trouble. And yeah, saved Gareth Southgate literally, because to be honest with you, he didn't deserve saving. So, but luckily we are, and we're through to the next round.
Yeah, I think it was definitely P45 time for Gareth Southgate by that final whistle. Let's go through the players. I'm not going to do a player ratings, but I will go through individual players. We don't need to speak about some, but there are some we definitely need to discuss. First of all, for me, Kyle Walker, a player who, in not just in the last game, but the game before that, for me, he's one of the best right backs England have ever had. One of the best right backs the Premier League has seen. He's not just a quick player. He's very mature. He's matured his game since he's been under Pep. But for me, his time's done.
Yeah.
I saw a Kyle Walker that I've seen in the last 2 games that is coming across as limited now. Running forward, his passing has been awful, and he's not helping Bukayo Saka. He didn't help anyone else who when they're paid on that right wing as well. Frustrating. It was just poor. I spoke to Garth in, I think it was the first game where he was really bad. I think it was in the second game of the tournament. He's been bad since then. And I said that it's these players that you should be sort of hanging your hat off. It's these players that you should be relying on, not the Sakas, not the Fodens, not the Cole Palmers, the Mark Gays. It should be the experienced players like Harry Kane, like Walker, like Pickford. And time again in this tournament, Walker has been absolutely shocking. Like, absolutely shocking. And for me, it's time to bring in Trent. Trent must be looking at the performances of Walker and just thinking, what the hell do I have to do? I think he's harshly judged on his defending when it's not even that bad. Like, to say that he can't defend is just a wild statement. Is he the best defender? No, but he's one of the best going forward in the world. And we need to use that because it's going forward, which we have a serious problem with. Garth, what's your thoughts on Kyle Walker, not just in the last game, but the tournament so far?
Mate, I couldn't have said it much better myself. I'll give it a go, but right. Yeah, Aaron, you said I couldn't agree with more. I think his time is up. And to be fair, I mean, we'll get the same as Trippier. Both of them, their time as top level fullbacks are up without a shadow of a doubt. I don't know what's going on with Walker. Listen, his personal life is an absolute mess at the moment. I don't know if his head's in the right space, but what I've seen in this tournament from Walker, apart from where he got us the goal, where he nicked the ball off the fella, obviously, and he done all the work to do that. Apart from that, he has been atrocious. 5-yard passes, missing them, bad. Like someone tried to say that the pitch is bad, and I'm like, yeah, the pitch is bad. But mate, I played Sunday League football, and I played on pitches that you couldn't even imagine what they were like, and you can still get a 5-yard pass across that. He is always been a great player. I'll go one step further. I'll say he is England's best right back, I think. Like, if we're just talking about technical ability, trophies, Gary Neville, obviously, but no one's ever going to surpass that. So, but yeah, it's been abysmal from him. And the only thing I can put, well, 2 things: Southgate's tactics, and that his head ain't in the right space because of his personal life being a complete mess. Obviously, 2 different families out there and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, that can't be. But I don't know, because he's like the fall off is dramatic. Sometimes this happens to players. Casemiro last season, well, this season, sorry. Sometimes it just ends quickly, and it feels that way for both Trippier and Walker, in my opinion.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that statement there. The fall off has been dramatic. Steve, did you expect the fall off for someone like Carl Walker to be so bad? He's fallen off a cliff in this tournament.
In this tournament, he has. But I think I mentioned on one of the shows, during the season that, I was seeing Manchester City fans calling him out week after week, saying that he's done. We've got to get rid of him. And I think I can remember mentioning it on the show, and I think you sort of was a little bit shocked by it because it was like, and you're going to be, aren't you? The best right back in probably Premier League history. You are going to be shocked when their own fans start calling him out. And my eyes opened up and I was like, wow, but okay, City fans are doing it, and it was regular. But you want to see it yourself. I never really see it in games in the Premier League, but this tournament, they're beginning to be proved right, and we can say, yeah, I can see what you mean there, because like you said, he's fallen off of a cliff. He seems to have lost all his. He's never been the cleverest of players. Do you know what I mean? He's always had that, that burst of pace. He's always been strong in the tackle and got down the lines because of his pace. But, he's actually in-game management I've never thought was that impressive anyway. I mean, he's got a hell of a lot of good players around him at Man City. Do you know what I mean? To be able to, so he doesn't really have to be that clever. But I think it's really showing now in this tournament because, we watch Arsenal every week. And we watched by Saka, and we watched how Ben White and Odegaard sort of team up. I mean, Saka's got no help from Walker. Walker's not helping him at all. It's like he's been told by Southgate not to team up, not to play 1-2s with him. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's time for Trent. Again, I think it was something we called upon. I think Garth called it as well at one of the first shows that, maybe you should come in at right back, and he's someone then, we've got to get him on the pitch. I think we were saying somehow we've got to get him on the pitch. We sort of tinkered with the fact when we in midfield because we wanted to see him there and we wanted to give Walker that chance. We know now that didn't really work. But for me, I think he's got to come in. I don't think he will. I think Southgate, I think we'll see Walker again on Saturday.
Yeah.
But for me, his time's coming, and I can see now what Man City fans were saying last season, that he's got to be replaced.
Yeah.
Will you give any allowance? I've seen this going around. Carl Walker this season has played more games than he's played in 6 years. Is fitness an issue? I don't ever allow it personally. I've seen that argument going around. Can fitness be put down to it? Just fatigue? Sorry, not fitness. Fatigue.
I don't know. You don't really think. You always expect, Declan Rice come out and saying, I think the thing was mentioned to him about fitness and with some of the players, and maybe Walker was one of the ones that they was meant sort of alluding to without actually saying his name. And Declan Rice said, look, we're this, we're that, we're young men, and we're fit. We can easily play 2-3 games a week. So going by what he says, it's not an excuse. But no, I mean, they're professional athletes. I mean, what is he, 33? We're 34. I've just come in from the living room and I'm seeing Pepe at 41, smashing it for Portugal. So I'm not having at 33. He's finished. I think he's. I don't. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I've seen some of the best players drop off because of personal things. So look, it could be that as well. It could be that as well. And I know you're saying Man City fans were saying it. It was something that was happening in the season. Before that, before we even would have known about any of those issues that were happening off the pitch, he would have very well known because he would have been dealing with himself.
Coming?
And then press
What's coming?
would approach him and say, "This is coming out." So again, that could have been part of the drop off. But we've seen it for 3 games now, and we've got Switzerland next. That Vargas down that left wing is going to be relentless. Now, I worry about him against Trent, against Walker, because it's his passing, and yes, he can recover with his pace, but it's his passing. It's literally 5-yard passes aren't making it to the man. people getting caught off guard. Similar as Garth saying, we jump straight to Kieran Trippier. Exactly the same there. I don't see him making the changes because Mark Gahey's out. Are you going to make a change where you're going to drop Mark Gahey's out? Are you going to drop Walker and then Trippier? If we're going to drop any of them, I'd rather drop Trippier. The reason why Mark Gahey got injured and got the yellow card is because of Trippier's poor pass as well, similar to what's happening with Walker. But I feel like Trippier's drop off has been, we've seen that coming because he had a poor season with Newcastle last season. Let's go to Kieran Trippier, Garth. You've not been a fan of him since the first game. He's not had a good minute in this tournament. No. Do you see a change being made?
Do I see it? I mean, I honestly think that Southgate will move Trippier. I think you'll see Walker at left back and Trent at right back. I do. I think one of them's got to go. I think he knows that. Listen, I said he was going to make subs at half time yesterday and he didn't. So who knows when it comes to Southgate? Maybe not, but it would be criminal if he doesn't. Criminal, because both of them have been bad. Trippier has been worse, definitely. Trippier has, I think you put it right there, Keir. I haven't seen a good minute from him. Not a single minute have I been impressed with Trippier this tournament. I never rated Trippier that highly anyway. I always thought it was a bit overblown the way people bang on about his talent. Like, he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. But I've never thought he was anything super special. And I mean, what's he, 33 as well, 32? Yeah. He's around the same age. And again, we don't need him for the dead balls because he ain't taking them. You've got Foden, you've got, so... And if you get Trent in, you don't need him. So the reason to have him there, in my opinion, was the dead balls. He ain't taking none of it. So, get him out immediately because he is abysmal performance so far this tournament. Yeah,
going forward, he's been non-existent. There's
overlapping.
That left-hand side has been, they must have a field day. The right-hand sided centre-back and the right-sided right-back must be having a field day over that side. Foden's just he's not creating anything. We'll probably go on and talk about him. And Trippier's just is literally doing nothing. All he's doing is just goes forward, checks back, passes it back, or passes it sideways, and that's him, and that's Trippier. The only thing I will say with Trippier, I feel a little bit sorry about that he's not a stereotypical left back. So then again, we've got to look at Southgate again. And then again, you've got to look at the beginning of our very first show before the tournament started, when we were saying, why hasn't he taken a left back? And we was going through a few of them. We were saying, this could hit us in the face. This could hit us in the face. What if he ain't fit? Trippier, we're not sure about. Where are we now? What are we talking about? Shaw ain't fit and Trippier's having a nightmare. It's exactly what we said at the beginning. And it's coming back to haunt him. Maybe we should be on the touchline.
If Shaw was to be fit, would you bring him in now?
Yeah, 100%. If he's fit. What if he's fit?
He's not. He's not fit.
He's not.
As a Man United fan,
shooing.
But even are you talking fit as in he's recovered from injury, or are you talking match fit?
I'm talking fit as he recovered from injury because we ain't going to match fit.
Nope.
What
Luke Shaw is one of the, Luke Shaw. Stay honest with me. Luke Shaw is one of the worst players coming back from injury. It takes him not for a quarter final, mate. No way. Unless he's match fit. You can't have him anywhere near the tape. It takes him, and this was my point. If you remember at the start when we took him, I was like, it's pointless. He don't look after himself. Luke Shaw is known throughout his career. Listen, I think Luke Shaw is the best left back in England in the Premier League when he's top notch.
Yeah, I agree.
He's the best. But if you're talking about throwing him in against Switzerland with no match practice, no game time under his belt, no match fitness, no, I can't have it. I can't. Listen, maybe he'll prove me wrong and have one good game. He will not have the legs to see us through to the end of the tournament.
What about Konsa then? Because when he came on, he did well.
Gomez is what I'd go with if we're talking about out of all the left back.
But why isn't he? Gomez, he's not even getting on the
Gomez played a lot of games for Liverpool at left back this season.
Konsa's never played left back. Konsa's never played left back.
And that's again, that's another Southgateism, isn't it?
I know, it's crazy.
You've got Gomez on the pitch. We're in trouble. We're going out. Trippier gets injured or he's gone or he's not, whatever happened, and then he brings on Konsa, who I've seen play right back so it's like he thinks, I'm going to bring a like for like on for Trippier. when Nick Trippier's not it's just mental.
I
It
do
really
feel
is
like this
crazy.
this tournament is really exposing Gareth Southgate.
Oh,
Again,
it is.
I don't dislike Gareth Southgate. I really respect what he's done for England. One of the most successful managers since Alf Ramsey. Like he's done
The most
bits.
successful we've ever seen. Like,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
we've ever
like,
seen. That's why
Yeah.
I've been so excited about these tournaments and getting to the finals, and I'm showing appreciation. But this tournament, yeah, I'm now listening back to what people have said previously. I now get why they were so frustrated. I now get what they're saying about this because we've seen it since game one of this tournament, and it ain't going to change. If we win this,
Nah.
it will be a grinding through. It will be a slog. It won't be enjoyable to watch, except for at the end when we the final whistles, because I tactically. He's coming across as inept. It's really bad. He lacks any sort of depth. It very much feels like he's got a squad full of really top end or great players, yeah, and he's just sort of going, don't do too much, don't go forward too much. The rest is just leaving it up to them because it doesn't seem like there's any sort of flow. There's no style of play. There's nothing. It's just 11 geezers on the pitch and just playing, but with a caution of don't go too expansive because that's too dangerous. And because I feel like if he was to just let them go and do their own thing, we'd be watching a lot better football than we're watching right now.
100%.
Yeah, I think he will play. I think
100%.
he will play Conser though, just due to the fact that he brought him on.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, agree with you, Steve. Yeah, 100%. That's what he'll do. Yeah, 1,000%. But what he should do is play Joe Gomez. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I said. It's crazy, man. Before we take our context, if Luke Shaw's match fit, then yes, obviously play Luke Shaw. It's just like I know what he's like, and like he can be. It's so slow return, but yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think Southgate's back four is going to be? It's going to be like we're all going to can't. We're all not going to be able to wait, are we, to see who this back four is? Because we all know he's going to be Carl Walker. You know, Guy's not there.
I think we're going to see Konsa come in for Gay.
Yeah,
I think it'll be Carl Walker on the left, Trent on the right, Stones. Yeah. That's what I think. And I think that's probably, bar Mark Gay, we'll get onto a second. I think that's probably something we've probably been asking for since game one. Switch Carl Walker on the right, on the left, and bring on Trent. Because, like you said, Steve, he does need to be on the pitch because he's that good of a footballer. Yeah. And we need better footballers on the pitch. We don't need runners. Like Declan Rice can do the running. And then he can play football. We don't need Conor Gallagher to add to that midfield because he doesn't add anything. It's why Kobe Mainoo came in again
yesterday.
The
last game, sorry, ghost of the last game.
Garth, Mark Gay, big miss because he's had a really good tournament so far.
Mate, someone should have snatched him up before this tournament because Crystal Palace can now slap an extra 25 mil on that.
Easy.
If Jared Brandthaight's being talked about for 75 mil, then so's Mark Gay. 100% 75 mil. He's been, there's him and because he's played the most, I put him above Mainoo. Mainoo also looks decent, but Mark Gay has impressed, I think, everyone. I can't really say a bad word about him. And
so composed.
Trippier putting him under pressure with that yellow card like that, it makes me want to hurt Trippier a little bit more. Standout player for England without shame. And that's how bad we are. We're talking about centre back, and there's no offense to centre backs, you know what I mean? But if you're saying that your standout player is a centre back and you've played Slovenia, Slovakia, Denmark and Serbia, something's gone wrong on the tactics board. Something's gone wrong on the tactics board. But for me, absolutely imperious at the back. What a player he's looking like. And apparently he's really good with his left peg as well. So it's almost like a foot defender. So I don't know that personally, but someone's told me that. So quality.
He came from Chelsea, didn't he, Steve? Mark Gay?
Yeah, Chelsea.
Crazy that they let him go, innit?
I think he was pushing because he wanted first team football. He just wanted to go. He was one of these players, and I think that shows a lot about his mentality. Mm-hmm. You know, I was going to mention this anyway, but with you saying that, about the Chelsea thing, I can remember him at the time you know, when the transfer stuff was going on, and he was like, I'm not sitting in no bench. You know, I want to go out. I want to go out. I think he went on loan, didn't he, at first?
Yeah,
I
he
think
did.
I can remember.
It was a
So-
lot.
Swansea City.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the mentality, I mean, how old is he? I'm not too sure how old he is.
23.
23.
That's it. That's what I like. Top
Yeah.
research over there. Just
Yeah. I mean,
There's some more facts. He was born in the Ivory Coast as well, if anyone didn't
Oh,
know that.
what?
Just, yeah.
when you think when you think that he got booked and he's out the tournament for the next game, I thought his reaction after that and the way he played was absolutely exemplary. I thought he was outstanding. It was his header, wasn't it, that clicked back for the goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, done everything. Yeah,
He just does everything. He's one for the future, and Garth's spot on. Do you know what I mean? That stuck another 25, 30, 20 million onto his price tag. I mean, he's going to be a massive miss. Just hopefully we can get through to the semis for him, because he was one of the players on the pitch who, you know, we can turn around and say and put, you know, you did well.
Yeah.
You know, there was a couple of others, but you know, he certainly stood out.
Not much.
Yeah.
He's one of the players that, like you say, the mentality, Steve. Like that's a captain's performance from him.
Yeah,
at 23. That's what we used to call a captain's performance. You know what I mean? That's a player
Had to have an injection in his shoulder, carried on, set up a goal, got a yellow early,
100%.
didn't lose his head, and still put in challenges. Like it was honestly. He should be proud of himself this tournament, because it's his first major tournament. No one
100%.
expects him to start the tournament either. No one was expecting this.
No,
I don't think anybody said him.
Harry Maguire call up. I know he got injured, but then Mark Gay comes in, and it was a bit like, whoa, okay. I like him. He's had a really good season, a couple of seasons. He had a really good season with Crystal Palace, but he has shown his absolute class.
Yeah.
Palace will have a struggle to keep hold of him. I know Steve Parish is a chairman and chief exec that doesn't let his players go easy, so I don't see him going anywhere. But I could see a big coming in after next season if he has enough.
Do we know his contract? Do we know his contract? Is it just when he signed? Because that was 3 years ago, so he's probably only got 2 years left on it anyway, unless he signed a new one. So that may be hits Palace's hand to sell him if he's only got 2 years. Because you know how it is in football now. You know what I mean? But yeah, listen. If, like I said, if Braithwaite's worth 75, Maguire's worth 80, then that kid's worth exactly the same sort of price around there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was going to say it might be worth staying where he is, but 23, I think he's definitely ready for playing it for one of the, you know, in European football for certain. But Crystal Palace have got some players, and
they've got a really good squad and a really good manager who's coming as well.
But all you keep hearing about is that everybody wants their players like Guy and Walton and Eze, and obviously Lise's now gone to Bayern Munich. So
Palace have always been like that, haven't they? Like when they get a few good players, you can take this Palace. They've got no money. Excuse me, they've got no money. They're small. Listen, my father-in-law and my wife are both massive Palace fans, and they know the case. They're a small club. You have to be a selling club when you're like that, and hope that you can bring it back in, because it ain't just them like that. Decore is quality as well.
Right? Adam Walton. Anderson, Joachim Anderson, a really good season. Tyrick Mitchell. Tyrick Mitchell got a really good team. Yeah, no, they're doing bits, Crystal Palace. So it'll be struggle to see. It will be an interesting summer, should I say, this summer. Another player who came in, we won't dwell on Kieran Trippier. We know we want him out of the team. Another player that came in was the young Kobe Mainu. He added a dynamism to the midfield. Just that we spoke about it in the pre-match. The fearless factor,
youthful exuberance,
youthful exuberance, and he showed it. He was running with the ball, trying to get it past players, and in that first half, seemed to be the only person that was sort of grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck, as they say. Did you expect that from him, Garth?
Yes, I think it's more. I expect more from everyone else. I don't expect Kobe Maino to be the kid having to deal with this. Listen, he's clearly a quality talent. Again, how are we talking about Kobe Maino being one of the best players in this team when he's got Bellingham, Foden? We'll get into him. Obviously, it's crazy. I just hope that we don't, and we've seen it too many times with young players, we beat this exuberance out of him, that we don't, like the press don't get on him, the gaffer don't get on him, so that he still is allowed to do these moments of magic that he's got. Because as you said, for times in that first half, I think we were saying it in one of the other groups that we're in, he's literally the only one. He has a shot, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's over, but we don't mind seeing that. At least he's taking it and having a go, you know what I mean, and going for it. So every other England player in that team should be embarrassed that we are discussing the fact that Kobe Mano was the best. Oh, sorry, Guy and Kobe Mano are the best players on the pitch for England, because they shouldn't be. I don't care how good they are; they shouldn't be. But yeah, I am still surprised at how good he is. I know Steve called it early, man. I am surprised at how easily he's adapting to men's football. That for me, over everything, it suggests that he's gonna be proper good. Not bad, because we've all seen young kids with bare talent. The fact that he's adapting so well to full-grown men's football at his age is so impressive to me.
Yeah, I agree. Steve, Kobe Mano, surprising how well he's doing in that game yesterday.
No, not really. No, I wasn't. To be honest with you, as you probably all know, I'm a big fan of that player. I thought his performance when he plays for Manchester United as well. I like him. He gives 100% every time. He always sort of seemed for Man United a player who performed above his age, above his years. I mean, what is he, 18 years old? I mean, he's playing, he's got a head like a 23, 24-year-old. And I think when he's come on the sub the other day for England and obviously in the forward match the other day, I thought his performance again was above his years. And I think this kid will only go on from strength to strength. I get what Garth's saying. When you don't want him, don't blow him out too early. You've got to be carefully managed. But that's something for the club. For this tournament, just the odd 2-3 games. There's no problem playing him. And I think, right from the off, I think he wasn't in my starting 11 from the off, but I had no doubts at all that if he was to come on, he would certainly do a job. And he certainly done that. And I suppose we've got to give Southgate a little bit of credit for that, because he's one of the players who was probably allowed to do his game, play his own game, because most of them wasn't. And to me, that just shows you what happened when you let quality players, play their own game that they play the way for their clubs, which like Manu did. And it's no shock that he probably, in my mind, turned out to probably be over the 90 minutes England's best player. So it's not rocket science. I mean, it just let players play the way they do for their club. And he was probably the only one who did what he did for his club. The others, for me, wasn't allowed to for one reason or another. But yeah, big up to him. Will he start next game? I don't know. After saying all that, I'd still like to see Rice, Bellingham, and Foden, but that ain't going to happen. But
but we've been calling for it all tournament. And look, you can see, I can understand why. I completely understand why. Foden's position, we'll speak about it in a minute. He fits in a Manchester City system, and his natural position for me is a 10. He's got that creativity. And I don't think Jude Bellingham has got that same level of creativity that Phil Foden has there. I was the same. Kobe Mano wasn't a player that I was picking to start this tournament. But after seeing the first game, we did a post-match and we did a pre-match. I was calling for Kobe Mano to come in this team because I saw what Conor Gallagher was going to do, and it was just going to be a Scotty Parker performance. Someone's going to run around, bosh into people, and hack people down. And we don't need that at this level.
It's like Duracell Bunny, isn't he?
Oh, we need composure in there. I like Conor Gallagher, but it's not. He's not the way that Chelsea have got him playing. It's dumbed down his game. He's completely taken it back, stripped it back to just a runner and a bosher. And at international level, England are better than that. And especially if you're going to have a Declan Rice who's going to play as a 6. And it was only until we started to get a bit more desperate where he was going forward and he got to be a bit more Declan Rice-esque. Do you know what I mean? Where he was getting shots off and trying to play around the box. Prior to that, you are stripping back these players' natural ability and it's just it's leaving us with nothing.
Mm.
Declan Rice has not been the same player. I know he looks better yesterday, but still, we're clutching at straws. I see people talk around and say it was a masterclass. Don't ever turn around and look at Declan Rice performances and say it's a masterclass.
He was better the second half. He was better the second half.
Better. He was better
because exactly the reason what you said.
Because we had to. We had no choice.
Yeah.
We had to go forward.
If your baseline is absolutely awful, which most of the England players, I'm not just digging him out, have been this tournament, then better don't mean much. Like that, like it doesn't mean much when your baseline is being I'm trash.
We're
and that's
lauding
all England players. We're just having to talk about Rice at the moment.
We're lauding Kobe Mainoo, and he got a 7 yesterday on a lot of the ratings. But we're lauding him because everyone else has been so poor. If everyone else is up to scratch, Kobe Mainoo's performances are similar to what we saw when he was getting ripped apart at half-time by the geezer in The Guardian. It was still similar, and Kobe Mainoo had a good game that day. I don't think he should have been ripped apart, but they were just quick. People were just quick to point fingers at him. I think he was good yesterday, but I think it's because everyone else is being so poor that we're looking at Kobe Mainoo going, top performance. We're looking at Jude Bellingham after he scored his goal. Oh, great performance, man of the match. Is that really a man of the match performance from Jude Bellingham?
No one.
Really?
So
he stunk the place. He stunk the place out, mate. He stunk the match. Apart from his 3 goals, he stunk the place out. He stunk the place out all tournament.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's
2 goals, stunk the place out for the whole tournament, Jude Bellingham. Unbelievable.
He was quality in the first game. He was quality
for a while.
He was good in the first game. He was good in the first game.
I'll give you that, Steve.
The
Not the whole
second
match,
and
but he's done
third-
well.
Yeah.
He's been awful.
The
He's
second
been
and
awful
third
since him.
absolutely passed him by. Absolutely passed him by. There's been worse players, but that's not the bar. We're talking about Ballon d'Or nominee. We're talking about someone who's just won the Champions League. Just won the league of Real Madrid.
Not just Ballon d'Or nominee, like literal front runner for Ballon d'Or.
It's the front runner. The front runner.
Literal front runner.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, because I've seen back on Kobe Mainoo, how is it that he's doing it, like, and playing his game, but these other players aren't? There's a question I'm afraid, because I know what's coming when we get to Rice and Saka. I can see the groundwork being laid that they're playing bad because Saka
because he's a lad Garth. I think I said, but I think it's because when I watch Mainoo play, when I've watched him, and I do like if I like a good player, I watch him whatever club they play for. My eyes watch, right? For me, he did for England what he does for Man United.
Yeah.
And he was allowed to do it. It was like Southgate said, you can do that. And Mainoo played his own game, right? So he was allowed to do what he done, and he stood out because of it. Miles above Foden, miles above Saka, miles above Rice, miles above anybody, because for their clubs, they don't play like that. They play totally different to what they do like week in, week out in the Premier League. Mainoo was allowed to do his job, and he smashed it. And for me, he was the man of the match.
Here's what happened. Anyway. That is atrocious from Southgate. If he's, what I mean. Yeah, no, I'm not saying you're wrong, Steve. I'm not, but that is absolutely atrocious from Southgate. If he's allowing him to do it, but not allowing Foden, Saka, Rice,
I think it's similar. I don't think we know anything else of Mainoo. We've not seen Mainoo have sit in and just pass. That's his game. That's all we know. So if you're sticking on Mainoo, that's what you want from him.
Yeah.
Declan Rice, we know he's got 2 types to his game. He could be a 6. He can go forward and be more of an 8. He wants it to be a 6 for England. We know that Saka listens to instructions. He does what he's told. Saka.
Such a good boy.
He's a good boy. That's why if Cole Palmer comes on, I'm sure he does what he's told, but he's also going to add a little bit of Cole Palmer to it because this is an opportunity. I think you're going to get that with a lot of players who aren't starting. Gordon.
That's good, yeah.
That's probably why. That's why you don't
forward,
pick him.
Being direct. It's why you don't pick him. Exactly.
Exactly.
It's why you don't pick him.
It's like Southgate. You don't do as you're told, so you're not playing.
That's what I think it is. You know, with these players we were speaking about earlier, maverick players. Cole Palmer is today's maverick player. Same as Gordon. They do what they want. Like they are full-wooded players. Whereas, like I said, Saka is a good boy. He's gonna listen to it, and I think similar to what we're seeing with Mainoo and what was just said about Gordon. we get that with Phil Foden. It's just not working with him. It's not working. Phil Foden kind of does what he wants, which is why we're seeing Phil Foden in a hybrid left wing 10 position, which is kind of getting in the way of Bellingham as well.
Yeah.
Like it's why it's
100%.
not working. He's just getting in his way. I saw him yesterday. He worked standing on the wing, and then Trippier weren't overlapping in filling up that space. And Foden's just standing there. And it's like, what are you doing there? Oh, he gets the ball, cuts in again, goes for a shot. Wide, over. And it's just like breaks up play. There's no cohesion. There's no continuity. It just stop and start. So it's really frustrating. Garth, Phil Foden.
As much as Gay's put on his transfer value, Phil Foden's lost off his, hasn't he? Like, he ain't going nowhere, obviously. I mean, I think we've said this a couple of times now. Phil Foden's beginning to look like a real system player. Like, and I hate to say it because I love me some Phil. I think, like, as a Man United fan, where it pains me to say it, I would have had Phil Foden as player of the season this season for Man City in the Premier League. But wow, I don't know what he's doing at the moment, because for me, I agree with both. Like, you've both made excellent points as to why these other players are doing it, and I agree that's exactly what's happening. But for me, sometimes players have got to just shut the manager out and do what they've got to do. You know, I mean, like,
you hear it from the pundits saying that. Sorry, you hear it from the pundits saying that.
Yeah.
Fabregas said, didn't he? Fabregas was the one that was saying it, wasn't he?
Was it?
Yeah,
just
be a
Fabregas smart
maverick.
and all. Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. Phil Foden's been so poor in this tournament. Like, it's even things like down to his shooting technique. Like, it's weird because for Man City, he's pinging top bins, 25, 30-yard strikes. You know, he's testing the goalkeeper. Has he had a shot on target this tournament? I don't know
Hit
if
the
he
post.
Not one in anger.
The post.
Yeah. Like the 2 or 3 I've seen him have been balloons. Right? Like, so, like, Foden for me has always been a player that does, once it's not going for him, he does sulk a little bit. Foden, you do see that he gets a little upset and a little angry on the pitch. But mate, yeah, his performances. Trippier's probably been the worst, but the most disappointing is Phil Foden. He has been completely non-existent in this game. He's brought nothing to the team, in my opinion, and he should be on the bench. If you're not gonna play Rice, Bellingham, Foden, should be on the bench, 100%. 100% be on the bench. Personally, I'd have Saka. I know it's not his right position. I'd have Saka on the left, and because Gordon's good, but I think if you want, I'd have Saka and then either Bowen or Palmer on the right. Like, but he ain't gonna do it because Southgate ain't got the testicular fortitude. But yeah, for me, the worst performing England player in the entire team, Phil Foden.
Yeah, Steve, Phil Foden, the drop off again. Do you feel like he's a bit of a player that has to play in a system? Do you think he needs some key instructions? What do you think it is? Why has he been so bad in this tournament?
I think he's just got to play in the 10. I think it's the whole world wants him to play in the 10. Yeah. Every single pundit wants him to play in the 10. Pep plays him in the 10. You know, we've seen what Phil Foden can do in the 10. He's playing out on the left wing, you know, and he's putting Bellingham in the 10. And from what I've seen in this tournament, Bellingham is not a 10.
He's not a 10.
He's done that. What has he done in the 10? If you look at Bellingham, right, in this tournament, and you look at Foden in the Premier League in the 10, right, Bellingham can't lace Foden's boots in that position. Yeah. So why can't anybody see that? So for me, you either drop Bellingham, right, or you put him in the 8, because you can't. I know he got a wonder goal, but wonder goals gets. I know that, but Foden is a 10.
Sorry. Bellingham scores that goal whether he's a 10 or an 8. Bellingham scores the first goal in the first game whether he's 10 or 8. It makes no difference because, like I said, he's not playing as the 10 that he plays for Real Madrid. He's playing. He's got players on his feet because people just all over the place. You've got Phil Foden there, just awkwardly there. You've got Bellingham having to drop in a bit, and he's not got the support because the central midfielders are too deep. It was only yesterday where Mainoo was actually running with the ball to get the ball to Bellingham, but even then, I don't think it suited Bellingham's game, and that's not anything against Mainoo. I just don't think it suited Bellingham's game playing in the 10, having Mainoo in there as well. But Bellingham, for me, is a very much like a Steven Gerrard sort of player. I can see everything that Bellingham does, that Steven Gerrard is that kind of thing. Maybe Bellingham needs to start wrapping some more 20-yard, 30-yard screamers in the top bins. But other than that, the tackling, who's a better tackler than Gerrard any all day long. But the tackling, the dogged sort of play, the leadership, the getting all around the pitch, that is of an 8. It's not a 10. It's not a 10. And look, we're not going to see it, but he needs to play in there. He needs to play in it because it's just not.
Yeah,
working.
I mean, Foden it's you say like drop him, and I get it. If you're going to play in this system, you drop him, but just play him in the 10. You know, and let's get some pace out. You know, we've seen right at the beginning of the show, we've got Foden out on the left and we've got Trippier behind him. You know, two people who haven't got the legs, who haven't got the directness, so the left side's sort of dead. You know, to everybody. Let's get Eze out there. Let's get a Gordon out there, someone who can run at defenders. You know, the defenders hate pace, hate people running at them. Foden can't do that job, and they're getting in each other's way. Everybody's getting in his way. When Foden now and again does come in to that 10, they all get in each other's way.
Yeah,
Kane's
it's too congested.
Kane's dropping deep, so he's in the 10. You got Bellingham in the 10, and you got Foden. You got 3 people in there in the 10, and nobody on the left hand side. Is a big gap. It's just all right on that.
Yeah, I would get on to Kane in a minute because I just thought of saying there as well. Who would you play on the left then, Steve?
Someone with pace, someone direct. I wouldn't play. I haven't seen Saka there for years. Do you know? I think he played nine games overall. I can't remember the last time he played on the left. And I think Saka was asked about playing on the left, and he said, "I'm not comfortable," and that was while the tournament was on. So I don't think Saka. I'd play Gordon. If you're going to have someone on the left, well, we haven't got a lot of choice. You know, for me, it's Eze or Gordon. So for me, I'd play Gordon. I don't know. He seems to have done something wrong while he's out there, Gordon, and he seems to have just, he's not even getting on the pitch now.
I put it down to defensive responsibilities. You ain't going to get that with Gordon. He's a winger. He's a classic winger. Go forward. What's that? Yeah, no. I'll be up here for the outlet. I'll wait up here for the outlet, boys. Like, he ain't tracking back. And I think you'll get someone who tracks back with Eze, and I think that's probably why he brought him on.
For Switzerland, you'll need someone like that. You're going to need someone who tracks back because they push up higher. Yeah. So if they're going to overturn you, which I think Switzerland will, they'll be all over us. So you're going to need someone on that left-hand side who can defend. And if that ain't Gordon, then it's got to be Eze. It's got to be Eze. I'll tell you what, like at the beginning of the tournament, I would have never said this, right? But now, in hindsight, we need Grealish and Rashford there. And you know where I think Rashford there? I would think, well, at least bring one of them two on. Or they're better off.
I think the reason why we've been in trouble on that left-hand side is because we haven't had Rashford. Rashford is direct, gets the ball, will try and score. We have not had any of that. And it's not get the ball, immediately cut into that 10 position, try and get a shot off down the centre of the goal. It's run down the flank, twist up the defender, try and find an outlet, find an opening, and wrap it in. That is Rashford's game. And even if he doesn't score, he puts pressure on the defenders and they have to think. They can't think, I'm going forward, because they have to think about what's there with Rashford. That's what that's the problem. And these right backs in every single game have had it easy against us. They've not had Trippier to go down the flanks to overlap, and they've not had Foden even attempt to get that ball down the wing and to cross it in. Garth, what would you do on that left-hand side?
Honestly, listen, Saka can say that on the left, but for me, it's either the left or you're on the bench, mate, because he's been abysmal in this tournament. And you can say it's because he ain't playing to his game. He's been one of our worst players. We've had nothing from Saka apart from a couple of moments here and there. I'd have Palmer on the right, Saka on the left, because Saka is the closest to Rashford that I can think of in this team that does that direct running out. But I don't rate Anthony Gordon. I'm sorry, lads. I really don't. I don't think he's of an international standard. I really don't. So, for me, Saka on the left all day, and then Palmer on the right.
And Saka's performance, before we move on to Harry Kane, Saka not been anything like the player that he's been at Arsenal. Quiet. I've not seen him have shots. It's a completely different Saka. What is going on there, Garth? What are you seeing from him?
I mean, obviously, I agree with what you're about to say. He's not being allowed to play his style, but as I said earlier, sometimes you've just got to not listen to the gaffer and be like, I'm gonna do what I do, so, because it ain't working otherwise. Listen, he's out of form clearly in this tournament. Everyone knows what I think of Saka. I honestly believe he's one of the best wingers in world football. He's just under world class for me, and he's gonna get there. So yeah, it's inexplicable how he's playing this badly, in my opinion. And when I say he's one of the worst players on the pitch for me, what I mean is from the level I expect. Him and Foden, I expect so much more.
Yeah.
And then Saka's he's done nothing, lads. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Palmer's come on in 2 games and done more in those little cameos that he's had than Saka all tournament. So yeah, like I've got no apart from what you're saying about Abby's not playing the game he's allowed to play, and maybe just a drop in form that happens to players. It does happen. You know what I mean? Like, and form is temporary because, as I'm saying, I don't want anyone cutting this and being like, "God, it's Saka shit." No, he's well good. He's well good. But yeah, for me, been so underwhelming this tournament, and I've got no excuses for it. I can't, apart from he's not playing the standards of football. Like, who does he have behind him at Arsenal? Who's the right back? Sorry, my brain's gone blank.
Ben White.
Do they have a good chemistry, them two?
Yeah,
yeah. So he's missing. He's missing that as well, clearly, because he's got no chemistry with Walker.
But the thing is, what I've noticed as well with Saka, again, not trying to find excuses for him. I mean, Palmer comes in. I disagree. He's been abysmal, but I've watched Bellingham in the 10, and please, that just Odegaard and Bellingham. Again, I'm just looking at it from the Saka point of view now. Just night and day. Night and day. There's no comparison, absolutely no comparison whatsoever. He is not a 10. Southgate is shoehorning Bellingham in there just because he can do that piece of magic.
Yeah,
which is other than that,
it's not a 10. It's a different position.
But he's also got Tony. He's also got Cruz there. He's also got Tchouaméni there. Like, it's a different.
They play weird for the dynamic as well is different because they all swap about. Stevie says he's not been abysmal, but he ain't done anything. Just like Foden. He hasn't. Like this, he ain't done anything.
Yeah, he hasn't. Saka's not done anything. He's not done anything.
But like you said though, you can go through every player and say they ain't done anything because none of them have done anything, and I think it just all goes back to the system again and putting players, in positions. Walker's, we've just like this ain't a Saka thing or an Arsenal thing. We've just lambasted the other side for Foden and Trippier. Now we're going to the other side and we're talking about Saka. What's wrong with the left side is exactly the same with what's wrong with the right. But no cohesion.
We've seen Saka have poor games for Arsenal. We've seen Saka have quiet games for Arsenal, but what he does seem to do, he seems to get an assist. He seems to get a goal. Like, even when Saka's been quiet, and people, this is my frustrations with people when they talk about Saka, because he could have a quiet game, get a goal, and then by the end of it, people talk about, this is what we're talking about, star boy, well, Clark. It's like, calm down. Did you not watch the game? Because he was, I don't want to say he's poor, but he was very quiet today.
We've called him out.
The second half of the season after Dubai, different Saka. It was the Saka of last season. It was the Saka of the year before. Fearless, going at players, relentless, again and again. So I wonder whether it's also a part of his development mentally, where he's got to get over these humps. He's got to get over these times when he does have a sort of quiet game and he gets within himself a little bit as well. I wonder whether he's using potentially the Gareth Southgate's tactics to sort of play it safe, keep it simple. And he's not really playing himself into the game, which he might do with Arsenal, and then sort of progress and sort of sees his take on the man, continues to do it again. He's then just sort of reverting back to type, keeping it simple. Just not even just stay on the pitch, but I don't know. I'm not seeing enough from Saka. I agree with Garth. He's not been good enough. I'm not seeing enough from him. But I again, with Steve, it's a system thing. It is definitely a system thing. We're seeing Declan Rice, Phil Foden, we're seeing Bellingham, we're seeing Saka all have abject performances, and it can't just be all of them. It can't just all be a
No.
division for all of them.
No,
But
no.
again, I agree with Garth. Sometimes you've got to ignore what the manager's saying, risk getting hooked because it's for the good of the team.
So is that
And-
is that
Oh.
is that the bugbear we've got? Because basically what we're saying is Foden and Saka are exactly the same, aren't they? You know, they've literally had the same performances. They've been the same. You know, and we're literally calling out the reasons why they've been so poor for both sides is because of the reasons that we keep repeating. Bellamy in the 10, the
Yeah.
right and the left back's not helping him out, and trying to shoehorn players in, and it's affecting the players.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's too many bad things happening at the moment, all at once.
Yeah. Look, we can say be a maverick, go and do your own thing, go and do that. But look, if Southgate's one of these guys that, well, if you don't do it, you're out the team. Then what?
He hooked the best striker in the world. Oh, sorry, one of the best strikers in the world because he was doing his own thing, and it weren't working for us. So, admittedly, he had to in the end to take off Harry Kane because he was dropping too deep, and there was no vocal point. But that's Harry Kane. If you're willing to hook Harry Kane because he ain't listening, he'll hook anyone. No one is safe from this team if they don't listen to the manager, and that's fair enough. Yeah. That's fair enough. But then you've got to die on your sword.
Yeah, if it don't come off, that's the thing. That's all I'm saying. Honestly, I'm not digging Saka out or anything. I will say Foden on the left's got more of an excuse as well as Trippier. That's not their positions. Walker and Saka are right-sided players. That is their positions. If Saka, Foden, both of them have got to just exactly what you're saying, go for it. And if it don't come off and you get hooked, then so be it. Because otherwise, he's going to come out this tournament and try. I've seen this before. What you don't want is him coming out this tournament as Arsenal fans down, feeling that like he's played poorly, and then the first 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the form doesn't recover until game week 24 or something. And out of nowhere, you're on game week 24. He scored 3, got 2 assists.
For a winger, you're judged on your assists, on your goals, and at the end of each game, as a winger, base level, you've got to ask yourself, how many times do I put the ball into the box? How many times do I get a shot off goal? And he ain't got no.
How many times did I beat my man?
How many times did I beat a man? And he ain't done it anywhere near it. And I think you've got to start looking at that first. Go back to basics. What you learned as a youngster. I've got to take on my man. I've got to put him under pressure. From that, you'll win free kicks, throw-ons, corners, and then you can start getting your shots off, and then you can start getting your crosses in the box. Look, there's some advice for you, Saka. If you needed it, I've got more. You know, my inboxes.
The free league goes talking about Saka. We all love you, mate, and we want more. That's all it is. We just want to see more. You're banging.
So why aren't we seeing this? Look, we see Saka for Arsenal, right? You've got Bellingham is Odegaard in the 10. Walker is the right back.
Honestly, he's more comfortable, man. He's more comfortable.
No, I don't think he is. Why is Saka? Why is Bellingham not doing that Odegaard Saka thing where he passed it to Bellingham 1-2, Saka goes behind? Why Bellingham?
Oh, what you mean the 1-2?
Bellinghm's dead. Yeah, why is Bellingham's dead in that? That's what a number 10's supposed to do. He's dead in that position. Why is Walker not doing what White does? Why ain't
different players, man?
He's not that type of
player.
player.
Different players, man.
Like
Walker's
if you was
different.
to pick a five-side team,
don't play Saka.
Ain't having Bellingham in there.
Don't play him. Don't play him.
Bellingham ain't the same as Odegaard, and Walker's nowhere like that. Ben White, as good as he is, and Walker, they're completely different players.
But why ain't if you've got Saka on the right, Walker's got to do what Ben White does, isn't he? And Bellingham's got to get the best out of Saka.
No,
and they're not doing it. They're not doing it.
Ballon d'Or nominee and favourite to win it. So if anyone's getting dropped, it's Saka.
I know, but he's still I know.
And we're talking about intricate little cute passes around.
Why can't he do that?
That ain't Bellingham. That's not Bellingham. That's Cruz. That's Cruz. It's not Bellingham. That's Mudryk.
But you know who it is,
that's Valverde. That's Vinicius Junior. That's Rodrigo. That's not Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham is a typical English 8, and he's going to Real Madrid. And he's been so good at Borussia Dortmund because he's better than he's better than your average 8. He's better than that.
But like, you know all those names you read out. Do you know who else that is?
What?
Phil Foden.
Yeah, Phil Foden at 10. But we need to move on. We need to move on because I want to talk about Harry Kane. Harry Kane, second goal of the tournament, got the winner. But the 2 goals he scored are all both in the 6-yard box. Why is he not in there enough, Garth? Why is he not in there more often, scoring goals, being a vocal point, getting off shots? Why is he in our half so much?
Oh, it's mad. Why? I mean, listen, I know this is meant to be Harry Kane's game, but bro, you're a dynamite finisher. You're clinical. Like, I can't give you an answer to that because it's mental.
Yeah,
Harry Kane must know, Southgate must know that next time I see Harry Kane in the centre circle, I'm going to lose my shit. I'm going to lose it, man. Because what are you doing, bruv? Like, I saw him, honestly, I lit through my control for the TV. It weren't the last game, it's the game before. He's in the centre circle and he looks up for someone. I'm like, mate, you're meant to be the geezer out there, bruv. You're meant to be the geezer in the area. You're meant to be the Ruud van Nistelrooy, that sort of striker. Like, and listen, he's probably a better finisher than Ruud. Like, you're meant to be like.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I don't know. He's so clinical, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about that level of finisher.
Yeah,
You are not a number, whatever we call it now. Where you drop deep, number 9. Or like you're not that. You're like whatever that position is now, the 8.5, the 9 point, whatever that is now. Like, because I don't understand it. Because in all honesty, his passing ain't that great. It's almost like he wants to be known as this this complete forward who can drop deep, spin on the ball, hit a diag. We're not playing that. This is what I mean about I don't understand what the Celtics doing because we're not playing that system. The system we're playing does not suit Harry Kane being able to drop back deep when you've got Bellingham there. Like you've already said, Steve.
No.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. You've got Bellingham in the 10. You've got Foden who's drifting into the 10, and then you've got Harry Kane playing in the 10.
Yeah. I wonder it's not working. I wonder it's so congested in there.
Honestly, Steve, you took the words out of my mouth, mate. Because
and then on the odd occasion, and then on the very odd occasion, Saka might get down the line to cross it.
Well,
so
you've got poor Saka just sitting on the right waiting for something, and they're playing tick-tack. It's crazy that I don't understand Kane's game. I don't, and he is old enough and ugly enough to know better that he needs to sit on that last defender's shoulder. He knows that. Plus, him dropping so deep allows their team to push out. They've got no pressure on them. Then you can start making excuses. Do you know what I just realized? You can start making excuses for Saka and Foden because they're having to drop with him as well. And then all of a sudden, our front three is literally playing on the D of the centre circle. And we've got no one pushing that defence.
I saw that a lot. I saw it. No one in the box. No one in the box. Like, it's so easy to defend when everything's in front of you.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It's no wonder we're just having pot shots from 25 yards and 30 yards. It's stressful. Do you know what? It's bringing back memories of when Harry Kane started taking corners in the World Cup and no one could understand what's going on there. And why you take corners? Oh, yeah, because I'm one of the best corners in the training, so I take corners. What? You're 6'3", mate? Get in the box. What are you doing? Stressing me out.
They're game stress, mate. They're bringing it back now. I'm getting stressed again about that. Harry Kane, what are you doing?
Steve, Harry Kane. We don't need to. But how much of a difference did Ivan Toney make when he came on?
Oh, so thank you very much for making
I'm going to move on now because we need to finish up. But how much of a difference did Ivan Toney make when he came on?
Mate, we've put Ivan Toney down, not put him down, but we've said he's just a really, really good. But he was the difference, when he come on, he was doing what Kane should have been doing the whole game. He was up in that number 9 position. He was strong. He was holding off tackles. He was winning free kicks. He's putting himself about in the area. He didn't get the goal. He nearly got a goal. He had a good shot. He was leaning back a little bit, put it over the bar. But, he got that knock on to Kane. He scored the goal. For me, he did more than Harry Kane did in the time he was on than Harry Kane did, apart from the goal in the whole 120 minutes. So, I thought Ivan Toney deserves a big pat on the back. I thought he was excellent. I think Gareth Southgate said, I think he was a bit at the ump because I was putting him on with a minute to go. But again, similar to Mark Gaiety, when we're talking about mentality, I've often sort of questioned Tony's mentality.
He made it count, didn't he?
Yeah, but to come on, you know, with the time that he must have thought was literally 30 seconds, and to
Yeah.
put in that performance
Yeah.
again, big up to him. Yeah, well done to him. He did well.
Before we go, we've got to talk about the big game on the weekend. Meeting up with one of your favourites, Steve. Granit Xhaka in the middle. He's had an excellent tournament so far. Is it a worry for you facing up against Granit Xhaka versus Declan Rice?
God, dear mate, that's tugging at the heartstrings. That one is, isn't it? You know.
Not for everyone else, Steve. Just for you, there, mate.
Yeah. I mean, as you've already mentioned it, it's going to be a great battle, isn't it? Really, between them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. He's had a great tournament, hasn't he, Granit Xhaka? I think he's been man of the match on two or three. I think twice. One from the other one on the other team was the man of the match, but I think for Switzerland, I'd be surprised if he wasn't man of the match for them every game. He's been outstanding all season, isn't he? He's been outstanding for nearly 2.5 years now, in that position. But yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough, and yeah, I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what team he picks, but watching Switzerland, over through the tournament, I've been really impressed.
Yeah.
I think I was a little bit like in our very first show at the beginning of the tournament. I was like, I sort of bit me lip and cheekily said dark horses, maybe, but not really meaning it.
Yeah.
But we all went, no. But now I think I've gone up that few more levels with them.
I don't know if they're a dark horse anymore. Them in Austria are just horses now.
They are, definitely. I think they've got a good chance of winning it than probably what everybody else has. From what I'm seeing. But yeah, it's going to be tough. They've got some good players. I mean, I'll let Garth to tell us about some more of the Switzerland players. But it's going to be tough, very tough.
Yeah, but Garth, some solid players. Switzerland have got a really good team. Sommer is an experienced international. I think he's probably about his 5th major tournament. You've got a Kanji there, treble winning with Manchester City. We spoke about players like Rodriguez, again, seasoned professional. Schürrle, excellent for Newcastle this season and been really good in this tournament. Ndoye, Vargas, and Bolo as well, after having so long out. And as a player, that's one of them players where you're like, how is he not a better club? Because he's just got that pace, power. And in the tournaments, you look at him, he's a really good player. England in a bit of trouble, potentially.
Yeah, we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be at all. That's the thing. With the squads we've got, we shouldn't be, and that's what winds me up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we probably are. Listen, solid team, and it just goes to show that if, like we've been saying, you play a team that works together, then double Steve. If you play a team that works together, you get the best out of it. Because in all reality, they've not got. Like these players that we're talking about aren't top end players by any stretch of the imagination. You're like a couple. Jan Sommer obviously is one of the best goalkeepers around, and the Kanji is one of the best centre backs around. But apart from that, you're now talking about players that play mid-table teams to top 4 teams. You know what I mean? Like they're not at the Man Cities or the Arsenals or the Bayerns. Like realistically, obviously, Xhaka's had a fantastic season with Leverkusen, but no one expected. Like everyone expected, most people, Steve, before you say it, expected Xhaka to go and retire at Leverkusen. You know what I mean? Like that was him off, like get his last payday with a big contract. So it shouldn't be a problem. And this is why I'm starting to think maybe Southgate needs to just drop these big boys. Like it would be a ballsy move.
Yeah.
He will never do it, but literally play the boys like they're best suited to the position. But yeah, listen, so Switzerland have got, like it's the last time, they've just got them streets we'll never forget players. How Shaqiri's still going.
Yeah, I know. I'm still bagging absolute worldies.
Even Rodriguez, I feel like Rodriguez has been around for donkeys. He really
has
hasn't
been around for years. I mean, Rodriguez was a player that Arsene Wenger was being trying to get back in the day when he was at Wolfsburg.
So listen, I think we're in trouble. Honestly, I said we shouldn't be. But I got to bet if we go out there, listen, we played the performance that we played for the first 90 minutes of yesterday.
Yeah,
we're
it's
out.
2-0.
And
Yeah.
you
We're
can't
out,
get saved twice. You can't get saved twice in a row. I know Italy were poor, but Switzerland played them off the park. Like played them off the absolute park. It was Italy, weren't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Played
They
them off the
drew with
park.
Germany, Switzerland.
Yeah. So listen, they're a good team. We shouldn't be worried about them, but we all definitely are. Because
I'm well worried about them.
Yeah,
I'm
I
well
am.
worried about them. They smashed Hungary 3-1. They beat Italy 2-0. They drew with Germany. They've been excellent this tournament. And it's not just about individual players, it's about a team, and they're playing
team
as
unity.
a team.
Yeah.
They are playing as a
that's
team.
And they've got
They're-
pace up front. Pace up front.
Like, what do we say? In tournament football, you don't have to be. Your players don't need to be overly intelligent. Yeah, don't get it wrong. They need to be relentless. They need to be. So your wingers need to be players that are going to cause your fullbacks trouble. Chiesa's not been on form, but he still looks all right for Italy. Why is that? Because he's relentless. He keeps on going at the defender, keeps on going. And that is what Saka needs to do. That is what you'll get out of Vargas, and that is what you're going to get out of Ndoye. And that is what I worry about. Because if we've got Trippier and we've got Walker, it is curtains.
Oh, we're done, mate.
Because we'll get outpaced. They will get outpaced.
Is it Mbolo
They
they got
will
as
go
well?
shots.
Is
They've
it
got
Mbolo they got?
Mbolo up top.
Yeah,
Who's powerful and pacey. Like
Mbolo should have been.
tournament.
Mbolo should have been Brazilian. The reason I was ever signing him is because he don't take football seriously. He's one of them players. He's well good. He could be so much better, Brill Mbolo.
They just roll him out of tournaments, didn't they?
He's just one of the players, mate. Like, yeah, he's a bit injury prone as well, but like you've seen it all through his career, he don't take it seriously enough. He's one of them boys. He's like, nah. Like I could do the extra hour training, but my boy's got a boat party. So tomorrow. Like,
Gus been looking at his Instagram clearly.
so he's been that is. I think he was injured for a long time, wasn't he?
He
like,
was
he had a
injured.
good.
He was injured for pretty much 2 years. He's been injured.
It was. That's my fault. Yeah.
I don't think he played in any of the qualification games, but then came back towards the end of the season. I think he was at Monaco. I think it is, and he got into the squad. First game back on as a sub, scores a goal, and now he's played every game since. And that's what I mean. Like they've got the players, and it's stories like that that build a team, gel the team together, that sort of bring them together and sort of make people work harder. So yeah, look, I seriously worry. England need to be on tip-top form to get a result out of Switzerland, and they haven't been in this tournament so far. So look, you'll hear more from us before in the pre-match.
If we play the way, I agree with Garth. If we play like we've done so far in this tournament, I'm going for a Switzerland win. Sorry,
I
100%, mate.
I have some serious concerns. I backed Switzerland to beat Italy because Switzerland have just been better and Italy have been poor. And I see a lot of what Italy are doing, what England are doing the same. It's a similar. We've got the players, but we're just not turning up. All right. That is all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us today, Garth.
Pleasure as always, mate. Thanks for having me, mate.
And thank you for joining us today, Steve.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Pleasure.
I think there's a bit of news there, Garth, that came up. Did you see that? It's in the private chat, by the way.
Is this the new backroom staff for Man United?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't honestly, mate. I've read it. I don't know anything about the fella. Christopher Vivell joining Man United as director of recruitment. I mean, he's got a tough job because our recruitment's been absolute dog for 12 years. So he's got, and we've got not a pot to piss in. So he's got a big job this summer. But yeah, 37-year-old, former technical director at Chelsea. Apparently had many options, decided to join Man United. That always worries me because that usually means Man United have paid well over the odds on his wages.
And working with Dan Ashworth, though. So they're building a team. Is Ruben Van Nistelrooy coming?
That's the thing with Dan Ashworth. Yeah. He's. I think I said like when I first heard of Dan Ashworth was, in the running to go to Manchester United. Everyone was telling me, he's great with part of the team. He brings his team in. He's going to be great for United. So it seems like he is bringing in people who he knows and stuff. So yeah.
Would this be him then? Do you reckon? Because he hasn't like. I don't think this is Dan Ashworth though, is it? Or is this one of Ashworth's boys? Is it?
I thought you said he worked. Did you say he worked with him before?
No, sorry, I don't think so.
Right.
Director,
okay, no, I misheard.
Listen, we'll see. I've got a lot of hope, but as I've said many a times on this show, it all comes down to the proof being in the pudding, and we'll see if they can sort this absolute mess of Man United out. It's no easy job, and it's not. Listen, I've said this about Ten Hag as well. Man United fans need to slow their roll. because it ain't no quick fix. It ain't no easy fix. We have got 2 or 3 years before we can justifiably claim that these people have had enough time to get us back to where we belong. And I don't want to, like, you know what I mean? If we come 7th again next year or 8th again next year, obviously Ten Hag's got to go, but I don't want to see blame being levelled at all of the backroom staff and we're changing it all again. So,
right. Well, that's
he'd probably be gone before then.
Man United one. Thank you for everyone who's joined us tonight. Thank you for everyone who's joined us tonight. If you are new to the show, press that like and subscribe button. If you've been watching on Twitter, press that like. I see there are quite a few retweets on the post as well. I see at least 5 or 6. I'll take that. I'll take that. Thank you very much for that. Yes, people, peace out. Stay safe and wash your hands.